Yeah, I think we all agree probably migration levels are too high, but you and I'm old enough, you may not be, but I'm certainly old enough to remember when we had the mass migration levels post-World War II out of Europe in the 50s, people from Italy and Greece largely, and from what was the state of Yugoslavia. You know, I had mates whose parents were Italian and Greek, and often, particularly the mother, never learnt to speak English. I mean, and they spoke Greek and Italian at home. That didn't seem to cause us too much trouble.
Yeah, look, I think that's actually a really fair point, Steve. And I think it is important to reflect on historically what's happened like that. Those were slightly different times, particularly post-World War II in the first sort of 10 to 15 years where, you know, Europe had been upended by World War II, and, you know, there were a lot of people who were almost of refugee status back then. But I think we're at a state now where we're taking such vast numbers in, we are developing a real problem in that we're diluting what it is to be Australian. And, you know, I think the great thing about the immigration waves of the past is it's been, in my humble opinion, better managed. And there's been a far greater commitment to actually becoming an Australian and bringing some great things from where you've come from, but then also signing on to Australian values. And, you know, the Greeks and the Italians who came, you know, they were more the odd ones out in those days compared to the Brits, but they certainly have made their mark on Australia in a very positive way. Can we say that where we're going right now? I'm not so confident.
Yeah, me either. And I must check whether student visas that are issued, whether that language applies to a student visa, but I'll have to do some work on that during the week. The Courier Mail, up your way, reported that a pro-Palestinian group, here we go again, is going to launch an application to shut down the Story Bridge for a protest. They've given plenty of warning. This is August 24. This group is Justice for Palestine. They say 7,000 people will take part. Will Brisbane be as accommodating as the people of Sydney ended up being last Sunday?
Well, I don't think Brisbane and Queenslanders will be as accommodating, but they will get their support up here. And as you know from previous comments, I support people's right to march. What, though, annoys me about this, of course, is I don't agree with the cause. I think it's misplaced. I think it ignores the terrible atrocities of Hamas, which Israel is having to make a devil's bargain. You know, they're in this quandary about how to deal with it. To shut down the Story Bridge is a complete living pain in the you-know-what. You know, and like, I mean, I'm PO with the government on a whole range of issues at the moment. Get a few of my mates shut down the Story Bridge because we don't like, the concept of unrealised gains being taxed, for example. There was a group back in May in Brisbane who were upset about the council shutting down the pedestrian footpaths on the bridge because of maintenance issues. They weren't allowed to march. I mean, you've got to be careful here. We're going to have two-tiered policing and two-tiered sort of protests.
We will.
I mean, they have to be consistent.
I'll join the superannuation march. I'll be the first one to put my hand up. Thank you, Campbell. Good on you. I'll talk to you next week.